All right, so this goes out to all my dads of toddlers. I know that things can be really frustrating uh, at almost all times. Every aspect, it seems, of your life is now dedicated to your children, whether it's time with them or time away from them. When you're working to make a buck to provide for them. When they're asleep, like right now, we're in the middle of post go to bed cleanup, which is, crazy as it sounds, even though they've been in daycare all day, there's a lot of work to be done. And that's like on a daily basis, and when they're present, you got to entertain them, you got to feed them, you got to referee them. And not to mention push the needle forward in their development, like the potty training we had 2 weeks ago with William. And that's just one element. We've done swim training. We got to start to get them ready for pre-K soon. There's a lot of things, and we take all of this stuff for granted, but in reality, they are huge milestones, and that responsibility is all on you. So it can feel overwhelming, and when you are not expecting to struggle, not expecting chaos, that can be really frustrating. Case in point, almost every day this week, I've been late to work. And that is because our morning routines are chaotic here, And on one hand, we're trying to get ourselves dressed, get our morning coffee, get a quick breakfast in, but also at the same time, make a breakfast that is going to be desirable enough and appealing enough on that particular day for your kids, because as you know, they're going to be really picky and they might not like what you serve one day, but they'll love it the next day, and then they'll change their mind again. And you got to get them to want to eat, and instead of like playing, and then you're going to have to get them dressed and get them the outfit that they want. And those of you who have little girls, you know that they're going to be picky and they're going to want something that maybe you can't give them, or they want that dirty dress from the day before. True story. And then beyond that, you got to get them in the car. You got to make sure they have eaten enough. By the way, a bunch of Cocoa Puffs does not constitute a healthy, nutritious breakfast, but sometimes that's all you got. So you got to scoop them in the car, and by then you're running late and your blood pressure is rising. And, being in LA, traffic is inevitable. So what do? Well, guys, I see you, I hear you. I just listed the things that happen almost on a daily, regular, hourly basis for me. It requires a change in perspective. One, all the things that you do take for granted are huge milestones in your kids' lives. Potty training, I go pee like 8 times a day. I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4, TMI, but like that's a normal thing. But being able to potty train your child is a huge step in their development. Halloween's coming around the corner. We actually have not had like the whole Halloween shebang ever for them. Last year was our first opportunity, but we were all super sick. So this year, we're hoping to actually do a celebration, and it does require a bit of work, but you got to get excited for that. You got to take pictures, and yes, again, that is going to be some level of work and cleanup involved, but you also get a chance to create a huge core memory for your children, or at least for yourself, and great photo ops. How you show up now greatly impacts how your children are going to show up later in life. Are they going to have constant stress and tension with you because you're trying to fulfill your thing? Or are you going to slow down? And yes, you might take a couple lumps. Yes, if you have not understanding clients and people you work with, that might clash a little bit because you may be running late pretty frequently for your appointments and getting to work on time. That happens. But chances are they're going to take a lot of that with grace because they know your situation. Most of them have been there before. So realize that how you show up now is going to impact how they show up later. Um, but how you show up now also impacts how you feel later, how you look back into now. And when you look at it that way, you might change how you see things and have a little gratitude with it. I'm not saying you have to constantly be grateful over the stressful moments because again, I told you it's stressful. It can be frustrating. I'm not saying you can't be upset. I'm not saying you can't be angry in some moments, but always try to redirect that back to how important your role is as a father. It's not just being the bread maker. It is literally doing everything else that the mother is also doing, and you are being a partner in that. It's not a passive side. You're a partner, and being proactive means that you got to get your hands dirty and do all that work just as well, just as much. Sometimes, most often, try to do even more. And yes, that means there's going to be more asked of you. But if you take this with pride and own this role, then it's going to be much more rewarding. And while it might seem monotonous or it might seem like a grind, like you haven't moved the needle forward, boy, you're moving the needle forward every single day. What you're doing is so important, and maybe you're not hearing that enough from people outside your family. So here I am telling you that you are extremely important, you are valued, and I hope that resonates with you. I hope that if you need to hear that, you're hearing that right now.